Sometimes you mess up at work and it doesn't really matter all that much. You fail to file a report on time, maybe you drop a dish and everyone goes, "Way!" Nintendo leaked their own game, and that was much bigger of a mess up. And today we're gonna learn about the time that Nintendo leaked their own game. So tell us all about it.
Big gaming publishers are subject to leaks on a regular basis, when news of their big plans somehow becomes public before it's meant to. Nintendo, though, are a little different. This Japanese publisher...
I think that Thomas has used this shot of the zooming into the Nintendo building in every video that I've watched from Thomas. Which goes to show two things. Number one is I take too much content from Thomas, and number two is that he really likes this shot.
Japanese publisher is a lot more secretive than their contemporaries. And so, while Nintendo's plans are certainly still leaked from time to time, it's a lot less common. But what if the leak came from Nintendo themselves?
Damn, it's crazy. You imagine the Nintendo offices to be like a place of happiness, wonderment, to actually look like the Mushroom Kingdom, and then it just kind of looks, it's just like your regular 1980s office block, and it's like, damn.
From Nintendo
all of my hopes and dreams come from this?
That's right. Today, I want to tell you
there
the
it is.
story
I'm gonna notice
of
that
when
every single time.
Nintendo leaked their own game 2 weeks
I swear, I'm
early.
gonna notice it every freaking time.
Now, the game in question is Paper Mario Color Splash for the Wii U.
They leaked this?
It's not the most popular game in the...
Oh, it's because of the Wii U, so no one actually cared. So they had to get some marketing by leaking it accidentally, but they actually leaked it for real on purpose to generate hype.
Paper Mario series, but it is widely regarded as a big improvement over its predecessor, the much maligned Paper Mario Sticker Star.
I thought people didn't like the Wii U version of Paper Mario. I always heard that it sucked.
Now, development on this Wii U RPG began sometime around 2012, when a developer at Intelligent Systems, one of Nintendo's partners, called Atsushi Ikuno, noticed his kids having fun coloring at home.
And he was like, "No, stop this! You must play Mario instead!"
So inspired by this was Ikuno that he got in contact with one of his friends at Nintendo, a producer.
I love to imagine a game developer discovering that you can color things in and have fun with it, and he's like, What is this newfangled entertainment that my children have found? Coloring pencils? I don't understand.
Producer named Kensuke Tanabe, and together the pair decided to feature color as the theme for the next Paper Mario game. Ikuno was brought in as director.
So we decided
of
to invent
production,
color.
And alongside the team at Nintendo, work began on this next big Paper Mario game.
We can make a game out of this.
And 4 years later, in March of 2016, the game was announced to the public under the title Paper Mario Color Splash, and the game's release date would be October 7th, that very same year. Now, normally with video games, things are still being worked on right up until the last minute. Often games don't fully come together until a month, or in rare cases, a week before the game's scheduled release. This is the industry standard, it's just how things work. But Paper Mario Color Splash was a completely different story. In May, less than 2 months after the game was announced, a Kotaku reporter was given the chance to test it out. When
they finished the whole thing so early?
It probably wasn't finished yet. She let
Never mind, it's okay.
Very interesting. It's complete. That's right. 5 whole months before its release date, Paper Mario Color Splash was...
That's crazy. I've never really heard many complaints from Nintendo employees from insane crunch times and things like that. How is it that they're able to release such good games with basically no crunch and basically no glitches all the time? What's the cheat code? How do they do it? Good employee working conditions? Offering benefits and paid time off and things like maternity and paternity leave? I don't know if they do that in Japan, but I assume that would probably help.
Done. While there might have been some very slight tweaks in the intervening months, the game was essentially destined to sit on Nintendo's servers unchanged for 5 whole months, just waiting for the October release date to roll around.
Wait, they're just waiting? They're just people waiting? They're just looking at a wall.
Very fact would lead to some major unforeseen consequences.
Can they not just bug fix during that time? Sure, there shouldn't be any bugs, surely.
In the early hours of September the 26th, sometime around 5:15 a.m., something big happened inside Nintendo of America.
Uh-oh.
Now, it's hard to know exactly what that event was.
It's not the
Perhaps
same shop, but it's similar.
Code malfunctioned, or maybe an engineer just clicked a button by mistake. The answer will likely never be revealed. But either way, early one September morning, anyone who had pre-ordered Paper Mario Color Splash had a change take place on their Wii U. You see,
Wait, did they just release it early?
2 weeks away. But if you had preloaded the game onto your console, you could start playing it then and there.
Imagine that! That's so funny. Dude, they should have just done it. If your game's ready, and it's ready for release and all that, I guess there's always these problems with marketing and business and worldwide release dates, but game's done. Just, yeah, sure. All right, have fun. There it is. There you go.
Restriction preventing you from booting it up until release date. But at 5:14 a.m., this restriction was inadvertently lifted. And it wasn't long before news broke online. The first reports came from a now suspended Twitter account called Electrivirus, who posted a picture of
Yeah, that looks like a tweet from 2016. Digital copies can be played right now.
the game running on their Wii U. It's true, they wrote.
Forgot people used to type like that.
Copies of Color Splash can be played right now. Soon, other Twitter users began to catch on too. Let's a go, wrote Nintendo World reporter Donald Terriel. And an hour later, news hit gaming forum NeoGAF, where it spread like wildfire.
I love how the
Countless users
piano's in the
posted
background of this.
Screenshots from the unreleased game, gave their thoughts on the new mechanics and graphics and music too. This was a golden opportunity. Who knew how long it would last?
It lasted 15
At
minutes.
Around 7 a.m., some Nintendo of America employee must have woken up to a big fright. Their unreleased Paper Mario game had been accidentally released. Sound the alarm. Shut it down. This had to be...
They wake up to this music. They're like, oh no. The low health music starts playing. They're sprinting around the office. We gotta shut it down! Shut it down now!
Stopped. And the approach that Nintendo took was a nuclear one. Not only was the ability to pre-download the game removed.
Do it, Nintendo. Scam them. Scam the customers out of your game. Don't refund them, but lock them out of it. Say it's their fault. Scam them. Do it, Nintendo.
The cause of the issue, after all.
Do it, you cowards.
They also completely got rid of the Buy Now button. You couldn't even pre-order the game at all.
Damn.
But by then,
They just turned off capitalism.
it was
Imagine.
too little, too late. If Nintendo had wanted to keep information about this game hidden away, well, it was very much out in public. While no new copies of the game could be downloaded or played, anyone who already had the game could just keep on playing. It wasn't removed from their Wii U.
That's
And so,
awesome.
Bit by bit, more information began to surface on the internet about Color Splash. Now, in the hours following this event, some people speculated that perhaps this wasn't the accident it seemed at first. Perhaps it
Did
was
they
a
do it on
stunt
purpose?
designed to drive up interest around this fairly polarizing new game. But in the afternoon,
marketing
Nintendo
stunt.
themselves put out a statement to clarify. Quote, for a brief period of time, Paper Mario Color Splash was inadvertently made available to the public via Nintendo eShop on Wii U, and a small number of consumers were able to purchase and download the game. Access to the digital version of the game is no longer available. The digital version of the game will be available for download in Nintendo eShop on Wii U when Paper Mario Color Splash launches on October.
Go on, Nintendo. You know how you really feel about those customers that played it early. Call them pirates. Say that you're disappointed in them.
Which leaves us with
We're just using the same shot of the Nintendo of America offices
one final
now.
big question. What went so disastrously wrong at Nintendo on that unsuspecting September morning? Well, we can never be sure, but that doesn't stop us from theorizing. And so I got in contact with two members of the Nintendo data mining community. These are people who go through the files of video games to figure out what's actually going on in there. And one of the most prominent figures in this community goes by the name NWPlayer123, or Nikki. She's the one who unearthed Splatoon's unreleased weapons months before they went public. And another is named Altier, I hope I'm saying that right. And he was one of the first to get his hands on the files of Paper Mario Color Splash. Now, while these two don't work
Love a
for
bit of
Nintendo,
data
they're
mining.
likely to know more about the internal workings of the company's games than perhaps a lot of the people at Nintendo of America. So, I asked them, What do you think went wrong here? Why did the game become available 2 weeks early?
If I had to guess, I can't imagine it was just a mistake from someone of Nintendo of America's point of view at the time, because it was 5:15 in the morning, which no one's going to be really working on things that are releasing on the eShop at 5:15 in the morning. I think maybe they scheduled it for a release. Someone scheduled the date wrong, the release date wrong for when it should be released. They must have just typed something in. They made a little bit of a slip, and no one double checked it. No one went back to reference it. The game releases, everyone wakes up, somebody's getting fired.
Well, they were both careful to point out that without being there at the time, it's impossible to know for sure, but that didn't mean they didn't have any theories. Nikki told me, my guess would be that they authored it with the wrong launch date and
Yes!
it auto-launched without them having to push a button.
That's what I
And
said!
that makes
That's
a
what I
lot
said!
of sense. After all, it would seem strange if Mr. Nintendo had been sat in his office pressing the launch game button when it wasn't ready yet. It seemed a lot more plausible that some employee had, months ago, set the wrong date in Nintendo's system and then forgotten about it all. Oh, and Altair noticed something really interesting too. He explained, since they had to completely take it down from the eShop,
Did they lose their
seems
save
that
data?
They didn't have an option to change the release date or re-enable the lock to prevent us from playing it. Basically, somebody just made a mistake and forgot to enable the preload lock.
I feel like that's a really easy mistake to make. Like, it can't be more than just like a couple button presses that you're missing when you upload a game to the
reiterate those
shop or
just
something
some
like that,
theories
surely.
you put forward. It's impossible to know what happened with 100% certainty, but I find this whole incident really interesting. Sure, leakers might uncover details of upcoming game launches, and data miners can dig up unreleased content from the game's files. But it was Nintendo themselves who inadvertently leaked their entire video game.
Nintendo got so sick of other people leaking their games, they were like, no, it's my turn. My turn. I get to leak it now. My leaks. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you do subscribe to the second channel to get to 100,000 subscribers. We're so very close to 100,000 subscribers. And make sure to subscribe to Thomas's channel, who's linked in the description as well.